This piece is created from hand-dyed silk, satin, and silk velvet, and then it has been cut into pieces and machine stitched onto a background. And that is primarily what I do with most of my art pieces. I am a surface design fiber artist. I begin by dyeing silk yardage, and then I take it up to my sewing room and cut it apart into shapes, and then pin them on a background, and then stitch them on the machine, and I just keep building. I always hope that it connects with some experience that the viewer has had, so that it is interesting to them.
I take my sketchbooks wherever I go, and these are different scenes I've seen along my travels or just walking, and put it in the backpack. This is a window with some geraniums. What I'm trying to do here is just to get the composition and the contrast. This is the doorway I found. It's out at Hunt Hill, out of Serona. I walked down a path and found this doorway, and there was a nice stone fenced gateway to it, and it just had such a nice mystery about it. So I sketched that, and then in the painting later on, I made it more my own vision of what I saw, not exactly a copy, like a photograph. I always paint in the morning. I like the north light coming in, natural light when I paint. And what I've done is I do a sketch first, looking at the chairs. I have these chairs at home, so I arrange them, and the pot and the cup and the bowl. And then once I've got the sketch the way I want it, it's just black and white sketch, then I'll put that on the watercolor paper, put the whites in. In watercolor there's no white paint. It's just all transparent. That is Gooseberry Falls. I'm up there. There's a heron down in the right corner. That's just not really the focus. The bridge, more or less, is the focus in the distance. This is Two Harbors Lighthouse, and I've done the Split Rock Lighthouse a few times. That's a wonderful subject. It was February, and I needed to feel some color. I wanted some contrast from the red. It was unrelenting, so I added some blues in the distance in the background and some purple flowers. But it didn't matter what those flowers were. It was more or less for the color, the flow.
This all started in 1977. Brian and I were newly married, living in an old farmhouse down by Amory, and our landlord came and said, "You need to get out. I'm going to tear down this house and build a feed grain or grain mill or something." Anyway, we had a month to find a place to live, so we hit the road and we found this old schoolhouse. And we both fell instantly in love with the place. We climbed in the window and explored it, high and low, went through the whole building, and just fell in love with it. And it was an old, vandalized, rundown schoolhouse in need of care. But we were young and we were idealistic, and we had this plan. We were going to make art, sell art, promote art in the area. And our families thought we were out of our minds. What are you thinking? How can you fix a place up like that? How can you keep it warm? Who's going to come off the highway and find you? It was a challenge, but we, like I said, we were idealistic and young and carefree. So here we were, and started fixing the place up, and opened 3 years later, after much toil. You know, 30 years ago, there were no other art galleries in this area at all. We were the only one for many years. Now there are several wonderful art galleries. Our area has become a real destination for people coming out of the Twin Cities in particular, who want to come and go to galleries and see locally produced artwork. So we sort of started all that, and now we work together. We have an art tour. It's really exciting to see that you can bring art to such a rural area and be successful. I was an art major in college and loved pottery, but I could not for the life of me throw a pot on the wheel. I could not do it. It didn't fit the way my brain or my hands work. So I started making slab pottery, and I loved it, and my instructor liked the work I was doing, so I kept doing it. So I do slab pottery, which means it's not round. I do square, I do fish have been my main thing. I've been doing ever since college, fish-shaped pots. Brian, on the other hand, I told him, you should try a pottery class. So he took a pottery class, several of them actually, and he was wonderful on the wheel, which I knew he would be because he's incredibly patient and centered. And so he started throwing pots on the wheel. And as a result, we've got this mix of pottery. We have a huge variety of pots. We do sculptural, funky shaped things. We do functional kitchenware. So it's been a nice mix. Not only are our art styles really different, but our personalities are really different. And so it's worked well for us to be potters together. We have a few pots from other potters who are actually young potters who are just starting out, just trying to get a business established, and we really like to help young new artists to get going. So we carry their pots and sell them here. It's nice to see people that are still idealistic enough to get started in this business. We have probably 35 artists represented here. Everyone who's represented has either a connection to northern Wisconsin or is from northern Wisconsin. We really try to be a local gallery. This is one of my favorite items that I've kind of gotten to be known for. I make fish pots. I make any variation on fish pots that you can imagine. This is one of my fish pitchers, water pitcher or something. I'm really into textury clay. I love putting texture in clay. I love the tactile feeling, the colors that come through. So this is one of my fish examples. They're all over the shop, and they're out in the gardens. Fish are just sort of my trademark item. I do birds and things, but I always come back to fish. Brian and I both do dinnerware in a variety of shapes and forms. And it's really exciting to know that people are willing to invest in your work, that they're going to look at every day of their lives, sitting and setting their table with it and eating with your dinnerware every day. So I really enjoy doing dinnerware. This particular glaze that I have here was a glaze that we developed when my daughter moved out of the house, got her own apartment after college, and needed a set of dinnerware. So I thought, I'm going to come up with a new glaze. So we came up with this glaze, which is a real earthy leaf form glaze that we call the Maya glaze after our daughter, because I developed it just so she'd have her own unique dinnerware, and I've had to tell her now, sorry Maya, but your dinnerware is so popular that we have to sell it to lots of people. But she has been an inspiration to us. This is our corner where we have a lot of our kitchen items, our functional kitchenware, which is really a big part of what we sell and what we enjoy making. I love to cook. I really enjoy gardening and cooking. So I always feel like I'm kind of in tune with what works in the kitchen and what doesn't. So poor Brian has to listen to me telling him to make things bigger or smaller. But it's the customers enjoy this kind of work. This is our bread and butter. They come in and they'll have an idea for a new item, and many of these items in here are the result of a customer coming in saying, have you ever thought about making, for instance, this is a new item that a customer came in and suggested that we make, and it's a little bowl with a rough area in the bottom where you grate garlic, and then after you've grated the garlic, you just leave it in there, you add some olive oil, some herbs, perhaps balsamic vinegar, and you have a great dipping oil plate to serve with bread. So those are the kinds of ideas that we enjoy getting from our customers. And usually at least we'll try to make what they suggest. We also do stained glass and sandblasted etched glass here. And one of my specialties is the corner pieces we do that fit into the corner of a window but have this irregular edge. I do the design work. I do all my own designs. I don't use any patterns. And then Marie Sweeney, the watercolorist, husband, Roger, fabricates the pieces for me. And he does beautiful work. He's just such a great technician. So we've worked together for many years on stained glass together, and we do a lot of commissions for homes in the area.